This young lady sent us a message through Facebook, and I won't mention her name because I don't, I didn't tell her I was going to share this or not. But I thought it was a good email, and she was, I think she was a little upset. She says, I wish you would have called because I wanted to hear the inflection. But anyway, she says, I can't believe you called Matthew Nolan a neo-Nazi sympathizer on your YouTube show. Actually, I'm not positive. I'd have to go back and listen to it again. Maybe she's right, but I think we didn't call him a neo-Nazi sympathizer. I think we called him a Nazi sympathizer. Anyway, not the point. Maybe I'm wrong.
Splitting hairs there.
Splitting hairs there, exactly. Did you ever try to contact him? How diabolical and wrong. We've sat under his ministry for 6 years. There are Jews in our fellowship, and Matthew's love for Yahusha, HaMashiach, is so forefront and evident. I will never listen to you again until you apologize on your YouTube. I wonder what...
How's she going to know whether we apologize or not?
I don't know.
If she's not watching.
I don't know. I wonder what Abba feels about your tongues. Shame on you both. Okay, I want to go through this just a little bit. First of all, she says, did you ever try to contact him? No, we didn't. He put out a public teaching on his YouTube page and everywhere else, so we responded to it. That's number one. Number two, she says, there are Jews in our fellowship. Well, that means nothing. I mean, if you look at Schultz, who owns Starbucks, I've met Schultz several times. He's a self-loathing Jew, in my opinion. He's a Jewish guy who doesn't support the land of Israel. He seems to be down on morality in general. He has no sense of the God of Israel. He seems like a self-loathing Jew to me. Just because you have Jews in your congregation doesn't mean that Nolan isn't a Nazi sympathizer. And then she also says Matthew's love for Yahusha, for those who might not know, and let's just try to include everybody here. For those who don't know, there's a growing number of people within the Hebrew Roots and Messianic movement who do a bunch of gymnastics to get to a different pronunciation of Yeshua, and they call him Yahusha. Anyway, so she says, Matthew's love for Yahusha HaMashiach is forefront and evident. I don't doubt that. Martin Luther had a fervent love for Jesus Christ, right? I mean, if you read his stuff, you can tell he really wanted to do the right thing. In the end of his life, he wrote against the Jews, which was later used to basically brainwash, essentially, the Nazis. It was a horrible, horrible mark on Luther's on who Luther was, right? Just because you love Yeshua, love Jesus Christ, love Yahusha, whatever you want to say there, that does not mean that you don't have flaws, and even that you're not, a Nazi sympathizer. And lastly, before we move to specifics here, I would just like to say, our goal is not to gather listeners to this show. If we have 36 people listening, that's great. If we have 36,000 people listening, that's great.
36 is actually more than we originally aimed for.
Exactly. And so if you're not going to listen to our show anymore, that's up to you. To be honest with you, I don't really care. We will not change our message and change what we believe is truth just because we're going to lose some people listening. That's not how it works. If you're offended, I'm sorry. You're offended.
We support your right to be offended.
Yeah, exactly. Be offended. That's fine. But I'm not gonna sugarcoat stuff just because people think that we're wrong or whatever. Now, the one thing I do want to say about this. Well, actually, let's just have Matthew Nolan say it. So obviously, I think everyone who didn't hear show 146. has probably figured out by now that we called a teacher named Matthew Nolan a Nazi sympathizer, or perhaps a neo-Nazi sympathizer. Listen to this clip.
How did Judea declare war on Germany? Through economic bankers, just as they are today. The German people, like I said, they were demoralized. They had to sell everything. And you wonder why, when Hitler came to power, he repossessed all of these properties and he repossessed all of this art. You see today in the 21st century, all these films about, the Nazis and all of their art. Well, why was Hitler collecting up the art from the Jews? Because they stole it from the Germans when Berlin was in bankruptcy. You see, that's the true story.
Okay, I understand that this young lady probably thinks that this is an ad hominem argument. That is an argument where we were trying to attack Matthew Nolan instead of trying to attack his theology. However, I don't see how this is ad hominem. And the reason I say that is because it's to me, he's sympathizing with the Nazis. What else would you call someone who's sympathizing with the Nazis? By the way, the Oxford Dictionary says that sympathizer is a person who agrees with or supports a sentiment, opinion, or ideology. Well, it sure seems like he's sympathizing.
He's saying Hitler raised up people to reclaim what was rightfully theirs.
Yeah.
If you believe that story, then you're on the side of the Nazis, saying, yeah, these guys are in the right.
Yeah, that's called a Nazi sympathizer. I'm not trying.
And he's not saying anything about the Nazi propaganda of race, where Jews were considered a inferior race, right? I mean, it wasn't just the Jews; it was anything inferior to the superior Aryan race that he was trying to uphold and strengthen.
I don't want to go back through this whole show again, but obviously the teaching is called Synagogue of Satan. He's saying that the snake and Eve procreated and had this race of people, and this is the Ashkenazi Jews.
Yeah, and he exactly, and he takes, because we see the word Ashkenazi in Genesis 10 or wherever, that's identity of the groups called the Ashkenazim in medieval Europe.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be, this is not an ad hominem argument. Obviously, if you are sympathizing with the Nazis, I don't know a better phrase to call you, a better name, a better label to give you than Nazi sympathizer, because that's what he's doing. I mean,
so interesting. The lady in the note, the message to us, did not. I wonder if she even listened enough. She didn't try to say that we misunderstood.
No.
In terms of, she didn't try to address the clips that we were responding to. She just tried to change the subject to other things.
Exactly.